Because I will forget. I will. Okay. Live on YouTube. Yeah, today's the last stream for 2 weeks, basically. Until the 6th, which I think is like 2 weeks. Is that 2 weeks? Is that a little more than 2 weeks? How many weeks is that? Just slightly over 2 weeks. Yeah. And I'll probably still release some patches of any huge bugs or issues. I'll probably still be releasing patches if there's anything that needs to be covered. Know what I mean? Know what I mean? Hell yeah. Anyways, let's do a couple of these things in here and then get it done. I do need to implement the new music tracks, but there's a lot of system stuff that needs to be done there. Doors opening when the secret button is pressed and enemy spawning in. So, I wouldn't mind getting that out of the way today. Where's that at? Here it is. Game is dope. Thank you, Level Up. Glad you like it. Yeah, one of the ideas here, which I never got around to doing, is once you pushed the button, the secret button, these doors would open up and enemies would spawn in. And essentially come into the room, right? So that was kind of like the idea. I would have to I'd have to fill in this area. Which, let's get that done. Let's just fill this area in. Do I not have another door here? I do not. Man. Man. Okay. Let's fill this spot in then. Just so we fill in any weird gaps. So then that way we can prepare that doorway to get opened. Okay, then we have this door. Great. Which, like, to be fair, I don't think the player's ever going to go over there, but might as well fill it in, whatever. And then let's get a wall up in here. And then a wall up in here. Lovely. These doors, these walls are so unnecessary. Actually, wait, no, they are necessary. I just realized what they're doing, what their purpose is. Okay. Oh, wait. All right. Okay, good. We're gonna have to rebuild all the lighting though, so that's gonna be great. But here's what we really need to do. We need to get a regular door frame, right? What we have currently. I feel like Art Exhibit could use another enemy clump at the very end too, or something. You know, that little bit of area, and we beeline it to the elevator. I want to change up that whole area if I can, but yeah, we could probably slap in a few more enemies there. That area needs a little bit of love because it's a bit like whatever. To be honest, it's a bit whatever. Yeah, the maze area is gone. Never bringing that back. Yeah. Yeah, we have to figure out something to do with that area. Okay, so we got a door. And another door. Okay. Is there navigation outside of here? There's not even a nav mesh bounds in here, which is surprising. I think that's in the persistent world. Uh-oh. I would assume that there's something here. So ideally, when we push this button, we might have to put a checkpoint here. We might want to put a checkpoint here. Just because the player might die when all these enemies start spawning in. So... Okay, I'm gonna have to remember which fucking enemy spawner thingy do we use. Shrill, how's your game been going? Became rich yet? I wish, man. I think it's enemy wave sequence. I think this is it. Enemy aggro box, enemy execute focus, enemy waves, ow. Oh, right. Interactions on overlap, interactions on end, sequence duration, enemy spawn timing. I actually don't know which of these actors is more up to date. This has a whole wave system. And a checkpoint system. Funny enough. Which I don't really need. I literally just need a thing that's like, hey, spawn a bunch of enemies. I guess this is fine. Hold on, let me see here. Force start sequence, interact with actor, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Well, I don't really need the wave one. I just need this one. Although I think these are kind of random. So I'm actually going to use the other one because I think the other one I can be very specific with what types of enemies spawn, which is what I'd prefer. So we're gonna have enemies here. They'll spawn in here. And then I think enemies coming in from behind would be really interesting too. So let's slap that in here too. The little gap area to jump. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with this spot. I'm going to be honest, I don't know what I'm going to do with that spot. I think we have, do we have a secret here or something? I don't remember what we put over there. I think it's checkpoint 2 wave. So checkpoint here. I don't remember. Checkpoint, find checkpoint wave 0. So checkpoint 4 will be wave 0. I believe that's how this functions. And there should only be one wave. I hope this doesn't, when we complete the entire thing, this isn't going to immediately end the game, right? No. Okay, we should be fine. I'm gonna give up on Unreal. Why? Is it too hard? I'm gonna duplicate this one. Thing is, I don't want any enemies to just like spawn too far away, but I'm down to have a couple like enemies spawning in from here because it'd be kind of cool that you're like looking through the window and you see some dudes coming in. That could be kind of sick. We just got to make sure that there's navigation over there. Okay, so I guess we'll do 2 waves of enemies. Let's like spawn 7 enemies. And then in the next wave, we'll spawn another 5. Or maybe 6. No, 5. I don't want too many enemies either. We'll do a grunt that throws grenades. Let's slap a knife enemy in here. 1 katana enemy. And then another merc. Okay. That should be interesting to start with. Let's just make sure we have some stuff here. I also gotta make sure the navigation isn't broken. So let's go ahead and go to, I think it's this level, this gigantic level. Okay, let's see where this is gonna go. Have I become rich yet? No, I've not become rich. But I can go full-time, so I guess you could say successful in many respects. It's going to take a while to load because it's loading in every single level in the campaign. Because that's the way I did it. Don't ask me why. I don't know why. This game was supposed to be much smaller. So we were working off of like 1 persistent level. Great, it's building all the navigation. Surely nothing is going to go wrong. Let's go ahead and check the office level. Still got a huge building right there. Very good. We got to rebuild lighting in the office as well. What GPU do I run? I got a RTX 3070 Ti, I think. I don't remember. Okay, so there's something clipping it, but it's not in the way. Also, I think that's for a different level, I'm pretty sure. Courtyard. Okay, so they have a challenged door, but they can still get through it. So they should be fine to run in here once they spawn in. There's a large likelihood I broke a level by doing this, but Unreal Engine. Unreal of Engine. Please tell me that's a... Okay, it's this level. That's not too bad. Is the photo mode stuff working? Yes. Oh, I don't have my controller. Shit. I don't really need my controller right now. I just need to get to the office. I'm late. I'm late to work. I still gotta fix the glass, man. The thing that caused so many crashes. On launch day. Okay. Can you skate and kill people in this game? You cannot skate in this game, unfortunately. Unfortunately, skating is not in the game. Okay, so let's see if it works. So what we should see is enemies... Oh, I forgot to tie it to the blueprint. Well, luckily we got there, so we can easily test it. But now we gotta actually tie it. I forgot to tie it in. Start enemy wave sequence. So what I'm gonna do is use the good old level blueprint. Something you would not be able to use in multiplayer, so enjoy it while it lasts, I guess. What was it called? Start enemy wave sequence. Yep. That's the one. You can turn on the slippery modifier and technically feel like you're ice skating. You could, that's true, that's true. You could do that. Where do I see this game in a few years? I don't know. Me not working on it? Me moving on. Okay. Got some enemies coming in from behind. Enemies getting confused because they can't go through the door. That's good. That's good. I actually can't... Hold on. Did I not save this level? I think I didn't save that level in the persistent level, and so I guess... Oops, ass. No, the navigation is on... It just didn't... God, I fucking... It say... I love how Unreal says, building navigation. And then it builds the navigation, but then it doesn't actually save the level where it built the navigation. So you end up having like old, out-of-date navigation. It's like, watch, I'm gonna... There you go. Now it's there. And now it's saving the actual level. And now if I go back to the level, it'll actually fucking have the enemies there. Hopefully going through the door. Ideally, that would be the goal. This would be a cool room to also make. Make this a doorway. It'll make, like, this already on its own is already making the level more interesting. Having enemies that spawn in. You can technically shoot those guys. They're still kind of... They were kind of struggling to get through the door, though, still. That's what I thought you meant originally with editing this. Oh, this door? This was an idea. But I was thinking of making it so enemies would funnel in here while this door slowly opens. That was kind of like the idea. Big moment. I've started working on a game. Huge link. What do you think? What are you working on? Is this Unreal 4, 5, 6, 7? This is Unreal 23. The 2023 version. Ghost? How do you feel about environmental destruction as part of gameplay? It's a cool element. It's very difficult to make, though. From a game developer's perspective. From a gamer's perspective, I'm always for environmental destruction. But putting it in this game, probably not. Just because, it would be too much work. No, this is just UE4 though, jabroni. Yeah, there was a game that came out. It was like a roguelite. It was like a sci-fi roguelite, and it has destruction, and it makes it so if things fall on enemies, it like damages them, which I think is pretty cool. I think we can actually make do with more enemies. I do find it, like, I like the enemies spawning here, but they take way too long to run here. Like, the mercs take way too long. Maybe that could be something we change with the mercs. Maybe we make them run faster when they're farther away. Whoopla. These doors I'm finding are becoming troublesome for the enemies. So here's what I'm thinking of doing. The nav modifier is set to obstacle. Let's just set it to default, and then that'll make it green. We'll have to re-bake it in the thing. Let's also spawn more enemies. I'm down for some more enemies. Let's get some Get some more grunts in here. And then in the second stage, let's get a bunch of mercs in here too. Yeah, I like that. Some of the doors, yeah, the doors are like technically environment destruction, but I would assume Ghost, when they mean by environment destruction, things like breaking pillars and it falling on enemies and stuff like that, various elements like that for sure. That I probably would not be able to do. But we do have things like, you know, kicking doors into enemies, kicking objects into enemies, although we don't really use that often. So yeah, I gotta rebuild lighting over here. Oh, no. I should probably, now that we're actually shooting through this glass, turn it into destructible glass. The only thing is I don't really care for the player going through there. I don't know. Yeah. You know, Delta? Or welcome back, Delta? Okay. Let's see how that feels now that we added a few more enemies. Oh, wait. I gotta go in the level, rebuild the nav mesh. This should turn green if I did this correctly. As I did. We should also be saving the persistent world. Okay. That should make it so enemies go through the door easier. Possibly. We'll see. Yeah. What does the God Mode Assistant tab do? It's a editor utility widget that I made, and honestly, it really doesn't do that much. I had a lot of larger ideas for it, but all it is right now is a data table, which I can't open right now because I think I'm in game, that contains like a bunch of levels for my game, so it's easier for me to navigate through, even though technically I could just do it through the content browser. But the nice thing is I can also mark down any notes, but you can see mostly everything is green. So that's like a nice little add-on. But I was gonna have more stuff in here. I just didn't get around to it. How's the journey going? It's going pretty well. The business side of things, I think, is probably the most fucking painful part of everything. I gotta say, it's a bit of a buzz killer. I gotta be honest. Doing all the business stuff. Go to the bank, do this, write this fucking thing, accounting, blah blah blah. Do this fucking thing. Sign this document, do this fucking thing. Ugh. God, can I just make my games, man? Billy? Writer consumes 8 gigs of RAM, and initial indexing takes too long when the engine projects are loaded, but if unloaded, I lose IntelliSense and all the classes don't work. Do you have some kind of setup where you keep some, discard some? Billy, maybe somebody else in chat might be able to help you that uses Writer more on a daily basis. I don't use it enough yet. And whenever I need to index anything or like load it up, I just leave it open. But it takes a while for it to all load everything up. I don't know if that's a Writer issue or a Visual Studio issue. Yeah, you'd have to ask me again in a few months when I'm doing more C++. But someone in chat might be able to help. What point do you think I'll put this game down? Once I get back from my break, those that don't know, I'm taking like a 2-week break. So this is the last stream for a little while. When I get back, we'll be starting the next project. the next game, whatever the next game might be. Don't know what it is. Ronin could be the sword game, maybe. I don't know yet. But we'll be doing like 50-50. We're going to do 50-50. So we'll work on the next update for this game, and then we'll work on the next game. Maybe a fishing game? Oh, are you running the engine source? Is this the same game? Yep, it's the same game. It just has 2 perspectives that you can control. You can go between third person and regular top down. There we go. Now the enemies are going through without hesitation. Yeah, this feels a lot more enticing. But yeah, working on this update. And then, by the way, I might like remove 1 or 2 enemies. I feel like it's a little too much. Either that or add a checkpoint there. Because I'm sure some player is going to fucking hate the fact that they're dying. Maybe I do put a checkpoint here. Berry. I have 32 gigs of RAM when you're in debug mode and 50 tabs open in Chrome. UE 5.6 plus writer background thing is just too much. That's why with my new PC build I ended up going with 64 gigs of RAM because I knew UE5 was going to be quite the hog and Chrome is becoming quite the hog and it's pretty I think you can set the max RAM usage in Writer, though. I'm pretty sure in settings. How are you feeling about adding third person now? That's sometimes passed. I'm working on an isometric hospital simulator, but I'm probably going to also allow free camera movement. I think it heavily depends on your game. I think that's a huge factor of it, or I think what I would say the game's identity was a puzzle shooter. Adding third person made it feel more on a sense of like it was originally like a puzzle arcadey shooter, and I think adding third person kind of shifts the genre a little bit. So you end up getting different players that might expect a different type of game. But luckily, most of our players have been able to enjoy the game for what it is. Luckily, even with the camera adjustment. Like, doing a camera adjustment can do so much, but it can be a lot of work. So I would ask yourself, is this really worth the time investment? I think that's what I would ask. And I would also ask, does this fit the type of game that I'm trying to make? I would also say, don't add it in and slap a tag on it like experimental. People will tear that shit apart, even if you fucking are putting in it as a joke. That's why I have not put in first person, even though we have fucked around with it as a joke. And yeah, maybe it's viable as a joke, as a mod. But if I were to put it in the game and even slap a tag on it and be like, this is for fun, people will, you know, critique the game based off of elements like that, unfortunately. No fun allowed in gaming. Show the new PC, brochacho. Brother, it's on the floor. It's fucking running. What do you want from me? I can't disturb it. You know, it's doing its thing. For my sim, tiny tilt shift, I was part of the art style, but for the genre, most sims are free cam, so I definitely understand your advice. Yeah. Yeah, if you want to do like a free cam, but it's still kind of like, you know, unplug it and show us. You know, it's really funny. I could do that joke. I have an empty case right here. Could be like, oh, all right, or just unplug it, fucker, and then it's too fucking heavy though. This thing's so heavy. But don't get me wrong. I don't think the game would have sold even a quarter of what it sold if I only left it at the perspective that it had. Adding the third person definitely has reached a larger level of success. Do it unplug, I dare you. I have a new PC. No, when I bought the RTX 3070, it did not fit in the case I had. And it's a nice case, albeit, you know, a couple little cracks and issues and whatnot. What's with the random link? Nobody clicked that. First time chatter, random link? Question mark? Explain yourself. You have 30 seconds, or else you get shot by a paperclip gun that does not inflict any damage whatsoever. I clicked it and I'm part of a cult now? Oh. Well, alright, shit. You can use some math there? Oh, okay. Is that the cult? It's the math cult? The math cult. No way, I got 64 gigs free. RAM from the link. What? Third person is actually nice for curiosity. Just check. Even if I decided to stick with top down, kind of felt nice to be able to check mark that curiosity. It's like a fun thing that I think more devs, if they have the capability of doing so, and the time, and if their game is kind of designed around it, if they have a specific perspective, but want to fuck around with it, I think they should. Because I think it... No, I think it's interesting. You guys don't download your RAM? Sorry, I'm not a pirate. I don't do that. Epic is well aware of the memory hog for its devs, and it's currently getting worse as they add more files to the engine. Literally some folders in true UE source will crash Windows Explorer. I'm never using source version ever again. I'd rather stub my toe than use the source version again. I wish I could retain any information regarding anything other than the art side of game development. Honestly, it's like building muscles. You really got to just keep at it, even though you fucking hate it. That's really what it is. It's like building a brain muscle. Seeing the player count shooting up on the release. It was really weird seeing it get to that number. I was like, what the hell? People are playing the video game? That's fucked up. Oh yeah, I was thinking of deleting one or two enemies. I think one here. I can delete one there. Maybe we could delete... No. Maybe delete one here. There we go. Delete two enemies. Agree about the sales. The game is much more accessible in third person. That's why I think a sim game should probably allow for free cam, even if the art style suggests ISO. I just want to make a game. I wish it existed. I don't need to make any money. That's fair. That's fair. The Sims is literally an example of evolving from fixed perspective to free cam. To be fair, though, Sims 1 to Sims 2 was a massive jump and leap in, like, technology. Sims 1, I think everything was 2D. And that's because, like, it was, like, what, 2003? 2005? It was really old. Like, 3D was not really, like... The fact they were even able to fake what they like had in that setup was kind of crazy in and of itself, right? For The Sims. So yeah, The Sims, you can shit on The Sims as much as you want, but like they were like pretty damn impressive going from Sims 1 to Sims 2. Even from Sims 2 to Sims 3 was a huge like, oh shit. It's kind of open world. Came out in 2000. That's crazy. Yeah, I still remember that was like one of the first few PC games my family got. And one of my memories from that was like a fire accidentally going off and then like someone dying or like death came in, and my ass as a kid, I was like, you know, I like turned off the monitor and I started crying apparently as a kid. Oh god. They established free cams being the standard. Yeah, I think the free cam, like especially if your game can do it, I think like it's a great addition. But I can see the amount of work that can, like, if you don't have the foundation for it and you're thinking of it midway in development, that shit can suck. So yeah. All right. Cool. Office level now has enemies spawning in when pushing the secret button, revealing the elevator. Let's go ahead and double check, make sure everything's working fine here. Just as a final precaution, we don't have a checkpoint here. Maybe we add a checkpoint here for the noobs. I also got to consider if someone runs through the door, what happens here? This area kind of looks like shit. Maybe I lock off this area, or I add detail to it. You know, either one. SimCity 3000, my first game ever, literally. I don't think I've ever even seen SimCity 3000. You learned about home accidents as a kid? Did you try adjusting the Merc speed just to test? We could make that adjustment. Johnny Sims, brother. Sims. Johnny Sims. I thought you meant a different kind of Johnny. Yeah, the pathing is better because the door actually, like, they can go through the door now. Building different systems in pre-production. You just never get a chance to ask a cool dev about the pivotal camera mode change in their experience, so I'm glad you're streaming and sharing. I'm just more surprised we don't really... Well, we kind of do... We do see camera changes a lot more often these days, but it's usually in the form of like a sequel. Which Johnny are you talking about, Krem? Johnny Cage, motherfucker. What are you talking... What do you mean? From Super Mario Bros. It'd be interesting making it so mercs run.
Shit my pants, I did.
Ciao.
Or thank you for the prime. Thank you. This bastard should be crouching on me. Dodged. Dodge. Was there an article that says SimCity 4 was made in a 3D engine, but with a classic camera view? That explains why there's a 3D camera mod now. I think for me, it was the realization it's like, yeah, I have this entire system, and I kind of added a shit ton of detail for no reason on certain things. I was like, why don't I add a third person? So I was like, ah, fuck it. Let's do it. My sword! Well, that's stuck up there now. The environments are damn good in your game? They're okay. They're okay. I don't think they're by any means the most memorable things in the world, right? But that's, you know, it's because I was fucking learning this shit when I was doing all of it, so... My mom sent me a message. She's like, yeah, it was during Sims 1. It's when the mom died from a fire. That's when I turned off the monitor. When did I start working on the third person? I don't know. It didn't take long for it to be in a playable state. I think it was like 2 to 3 months, and then obviously we polished it over like another 2 to 3 months, I think. I don't know, how long did 1.0 take? That's all I remember. That's from early access 20B 21.4, whatever it is, to V1.0. That was basically how long it took. Too long? Probably could have taken longer. I'd like a new path traced Sims. Oh, that's just that Korean game that has like no charm to it. But hey, it's got Lumen and Nanite and the AI generation, and you know, who cares? I think it's missing the point of what made Sims so good, in my opinion. What is that game called? You guys know which one I'm talking about. I think it's Korean. I think it's Korean. It's in early access right now. Yeah, Inzoi. That's the one. I think that's like a prime example of like graphics. Okay. So what? Valorant. What do you mean Valorant? Where'd you bring that one up? Yeah, Inzoi I think is a good example of like, okay, you got graphics, kind of. But now what? Like, where's the video game part of it? Got some good news that my father's visiting for Thanksgiving. Nice. Yeah, dude, visiting family is great. Feels like that food from the Matrix Zion. I don't remember what that is. You know what it probably feels like? What's it has all the ingredients. Okay, that probably tastes like ass. You know what Inzoi feels like? It feels like which movie was it that has the holographic food that you like actually can't eat at all? Was that SpongeBob? Wait, what was that? The hologram food. What piece of media did that? I don't know if it was a movie. I want to say it was a cartoon. Was it SpongeBob that did the hologram food? I think it is SpongeBob. SpongeBob hologram food. Yes, it's I remember. This is what Inzoi feels like to me. This is literally Inzoi. This is a prime example of how I view Inzoi. It's a fucking hologram sandwich. There's nothing there. It just looks good, I guess. I've heard various opinions that it takes much longer to develop games to learn Unreal rather than Unity. However, if we consider the speed of writing code in C++ and C#, C++ is only slightly slower, but this isn't taking into account that C++ and Unreal itself seems to take longer to learn than Unity. What's your opinion? Perhaps it's a little silly that I can't make up my mind. I'd say try both. You're going to hear a lot of opinions in the game development space, and in my opinion, take all of it with a grain of salt. Hell, take my opinion with a grain of salt. I think it's all noise. All of it. Every bit of it. Just get in there and see which one vibes closest to you. And then, here's the thing. Maybe Unreal is a little bit slower in some respects, but Unity will be slower in other respects. Just like how every engine is going to be slower. It's going to have its pros and cons. Yeah. Where Unity excels in one place, Unreal might not. Unreal might excel in places that Unity cannot. But I would say ignore the noise. And just get in there. Get in there. A good old hologram sandwich. Oh, I'd love a game that has good carpentry. I'd love a game that has really good blacksmithing, but the thing is, like, I can understand why it's so difficult to do. I bet you there is a good blacksmithing game there, but it's like too difficult, or it's got like, the controls are probably too complex or something. Yeah, in my opinion, it gets to a point where you are working around the engine based on your skill set. Unity, you might end up making a lot of systems yourself. Unreal, you might have systems that you just have to learn that's there and then work around those systems. It gets to a point where it's all just based off of your own personal skill level. Let's be honest. 90, I'm gonna pull up a random stat, but I bet you this is pretty accurate. 95% of the posts you see on Reddit and all these other places, which is why I call it noise, are people that touched an engine for like a week and hasn't done anything with it. My opinion is just get in there and see what happens. You want the glass in your games to be better than what Apple has now? The glass? I need to re-enable the glass destruction in my game because before it would crash people's game. So here's what the glass is like right now. Oh. There's a Hebe. Have I seen the Mark Zuckerberg Meta glasses stuff? No, I don't really care for it. Is the glass still crashing? I don't know. I haven't tested it. I haven't been testing it because I've just been busy with other shit. This is the actual glass destruction that I had to disable because it was, for some reason, crashing people. In the most random places, too. I don't know why. No clue. So currently we just have the glass disappearing when you break. With a tiny little glass effect. It would look like in the real world, better than anyone has on this planet. Honestly, man, with graphics, my opinion is that you get to a certain point where it's like, okay, you just get like huge diminishing returns. I think with Unreal, I would say Lumen for me is great because it changes an entire workflow that would make things a lot better. It's not really about the visuals necessarily, even though, yes, it is quite helpful, but more about workflow. So I wouldn't really call that a diminishing return, but I don't know. Realistic reflections, I don't really care for it. Artglass literally is just an HDR cube map slapped in there, and I think most players probably don't give too much of a shit about it, to be honest. If it gets the job done, it gets the job done. As long as it contextually looks like glass. They crash immediately going through it, though. The UE426 version, it would randomly crash people's computer. Or not computer, their game. The 427 version, it was like guaranteed when they break the glass, it would crash their game. I fixed the crash, and then it randomly started breaking in random levels. So I was like, fuck it, I'm disabling it for now until I like play test it with every single level. Can the cube map texture be changed to fit in the level you're in? You can. You can. I'm just too lazy to do that. But you can. It would make it more accurate, but... I should maybe speed up the horizontal escalator a little bit. Let's see. What do we have the speed at? It's at 4. 4. If you set it to 5, is that more accurate to what the actual speed is of the player moving? A little bit faster? Oh, I'm not actually changing the speed that the player is moving at. I'm just changing the material. So it matches more with how the character is actually moving on it. Now it's going too fast. Now it's going too fast. I don't even know what this is in correlation to. Like the speed Y, what is this in correlation to? Speed, like I could do like an actual 100% accurate calculation. I just don't know how to calculate it. We move the character. We just add offset. 180. Good shadows and reflections are the main draw for me. I don't care much about bounce lighting and absorb. I don't care about absorption. Good shadows, yes. But I would say bounce lighting is nice. Like, and I don't need like a crazy amount of bounces. I think I need enough to approximate an area so that it fills in the space, you know, rather than like faking using skylight and post-processing and stuff like that. Like, I think bounce lighting is very cool. I just don't need like 50 million bounces, super accurate. Like, I just want something that looks good without like any noise and random flickering and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, that's, to me, the biggest thing. Is the glass crashing causing a memory leak? I don't know if it's a memory leak issue. I really don't know. I shit you not, I spent the longest time trying to figure it out. I've even come down to like keeping track of a bunch of stuff. We did so many things to try to figure out like what was causing the crash. Getting random fucking crash stacks, call stacks of like random things going on, serialization. Bunch of shit, man. We had some stuff with garbage collection at one point. It was fucking confusing, man. It was so bad. Do you have a level where you need to lie on the escalator and shoot enemies? You don't have to go on the escalator in the level where they're in. They're optional to kind of speed you up. Miss Ultras is kind of like funny, I guess. Graphics in games will just go through the same change that art did. People got so good at being realistic that people started doing abstract stuff. Yeah. Like, I think one of the most prettiest games that will be coming out is Black Frost. Like, that game looks so pretty, man. But it's not at all realistic. It's just taking elements of realism and realistic graphics stuff and fitting it into, like, a very, very stylized world that just looks so good. Clean suit compilation, fast paced, and then ended it with being dive/prone in the escalator, slowly getting a clean suit. Am I a millionaire yet? No. No. Let's see if this is matched up more. Dude, I don't know what the actual speed value of this is. Also, I don't know if your frame rate has an impact on this too. No, it looks about correct in terms of frame rates, which is good. Thank you, Diego. Would you build a raster of probes to bake the bounce lighting? I don't know. I'm not that technically smart. All right. This is probably as accurate as it gets. That's probably as accurate as it gets. Cool. People have cheat codes for frame rate and UE. Yeah, all it takes is you type in t.maxfps 120 and then you have 120 frames per second. It's that easy. I don't know why the other developers aren't doing it. They might have like t.maxfps 30 in the thing. I don't know. I just published my first game following a YouTube tutorial. When do I make my first million? I give it like a week. Yeah, give it like a week. I saw a crazy skate game yesterday. I'm gonna assume it's the one where it's like all like crystal-like and shit. Like glass. I'm assuming it's that one, Vixen. It's published by Devolver, I think. Didn't you hear about Silksong? At least 2 weeks now to make $1 million. It took them 2 weeks to make $1 million with Silksong. I heavily doubt that. I'm sure they made $1 million in the first day. Maybe profits $1 million. Yeah, like maybe profits now. I was joking about you saying that you'd make $1 million in a week. Oh, it would take 2 weeks to make $1 million. Okay, sorry, I misread that. And don't mind me, I can't read. I'm hungry. All right, I need some calories. I'm hungry and shit, man. Doesn't surprise me, to be fair. They made Steam crash. How much do you guys think Silksong made in the first hour of release? Like gross revenue. I'm thinking 15 mil US. Is that why Borderlands runs so poorly? Devs put 3 FPS limit instead of 300? Yeah, I think they just got to write T.max FPS 300. Ocean Drive enemies feel pretty good, by the way, with the aggro/location adjustments in the starting area. Nice. Don't mind me. I can't read. Too busy counting my millions. Okay, all right. Okay, Gross head gets like 10 to 15 mil. First hour? Dude, they crashed Steam. You know how like hard it is to crash Steam? Crimson, how quickly until you get your first $1 million? I don't know. Ask future me if that even fucking happens. Is non-photoreal the new art movement in 3D? I don't think there's any movement. I think the movement is the movement in my bowels right now after drinking coffee. I think that's the real movement going on right now. Future you said to ask future you? Future me? Past me of past me asking future me, which is currently present me. No million yet past me of past me, unfortunately. I am past me of future me. Think about it. What the hell? Yeah. Past me of future me. What the hell is this music? Oh, it's a Dark Tide. Okay. All right, now what? We gotta implement the new music tracks. We got a bug we need to fix with photo mode, which I'm kind of scared to fix because might break a few things. Well, what's the likelihood of it breaking things? Pretty high. Well, so far, I'd take a lot more time from you. Do you plan on the next game already? I'm already playing in the next game. Well, I don't know what I'm going to make, but I plan on working on the next game after my 2 week break. Or 2 to 3 week break. My break. After my break. After my vacation in quotation marks. Which is not actually like a vacation. Realistically. Gonna be spending the next 3 weeks fucking going to the bank and being like, hey, go to my accountant and be like, probably release some patches for this game. Update. Fix bug. Ugh. But when I get back from the break, I'm going to be like, yo, hey, Pog, next game, we're going to be working on 50% of next game. And then 50% of this game still, because we're going to work on the last update, the final one, which will hopefully be mod support. Or maybe I say fuck it and I pull a 180 and I don't put in mod support. But I think I'll put in some mod support. Even, yeah. The Johnny Cage game. That's the next game, the Johnny Cage game. You should work with me on your next game so I can feel like I get something done. You haven't seen me work. I don't get things done. That's why this game took 5 years. Make the Cyber Ninja game? Ronin? Well, Ronin might come at some point. I don't know what I'm going to work on. I don't know. Could be the zombie roguelite. Could be Ronin. Could be top-down idle game with elements of action to it. It could be... racing, rally car roguelite, where like there's physics-based stuff, and you can, if you randomly crash your car, you have to get out and repair the parts. Could be that idea that we had at one point. I had that idea on the toilet. You wouldn't guess it. It was on the toilet. It was a good day. Yeah, who knows? I'm a game developer, all right? I have 5 million ideas. Could be the train game. Yes, friend slop train. You have to keep the train going, and there's random shit to loot. Friend slop train game. But yeah, multiplayer. I don't get things done that had some aura behind it. Multiplayer trains are so annoying. That's why you just gotta make it really slow. What do I outsource and what did I learn myself? Or do I do everything myself? I don't do music, even though I've purchased music software. I don't do music because music is a whole world of its own. I'll generally outsource things like animations and whatnot. Visual effects. I get like a marketplace assets a lot, but I can 3D model, I can do UI UX myself, I can do gameplay programming mostly myself, a lot of things. I like doing things myself. I like doing a lot of things myself. I think one day I wouldn't mind getting to a point where I can pay people full-time to just do the managerial stuff, because that part fucking sucks. Get someone to handle the accounting. Get someone to handle any contract stuff, anything like that, so I could just focus on make game. Went down that nightmare for a horror battle royale game a few years back when we went open world. Is that what Randy does? Which Randy? Indie Randy? I don't know. Running a train with your friends sounds like a good time. Yeah, exactly. Oh, Gearbox Randy. I don't know what the fuck Gearbox Randy does. But yeah, I like to learn stuff myself, as long as it's not too outside of the scope of what I do. I think music is one of those things that I would consider outside of the scope of what I do. Because it's It's a lot. And also I've tried to make music myself, and it brings me back to that stage of trying to learn a new skill, but it's like you're right at the rock bottom. Trying to learn a new skill and it just doesn't click. And I've already had those moments with game development and 3D modeling and graphic design and stuff like that. And thank God I'm outside of that stage. For the most part. For the most part, outside of that stage. Music brings me back to that, like, that moment of learning an entirely new skill, and it just fucking sucks. Karate football game, call it Fifu. I like that. Some, what's that really old soccer movie that I used to watch? I loved it when I was a kid. Shaolin Soccer. That's the one, baby. Or if you're from the EU, Shaolin Football. That's such a good movie. When I was a kid, I loved that movie. I still love that movie. Maybe another guitar will allow you to learn it. That's true. I do have my eyes on a Tim Henson guitar. I would be... Hey. Kung Fu Hustle. Yeah, nothing beats those movies, man. Those just have, like, charm to them that will, like, never age. Yeah, see, I can't make my own sounds. Like, I don't know the science behind it and whatnot. Like, taking a construction kit and, like, being able to turn those into, like, sound effects that are, like, not even all that memorable of what they were before, very difficult. Tim Henson, the puppet guy? No, Tim Henson, the guitarist. The guitar guy. Puppet guy? Who the fuck? Puppet guy? You talking about the same guy? I do know about Marshall McGee. I've seen his videos, but it's like you can watch those videos and I'd have to like watch a bunch of it and then like apply it, but it definitely, like, all of that stuff has not stuck for me. I'd have to rewatch some of those videos for sure. Have you seen that video documentary for Star Wars Republic Commando when they talked about Foley artists, like a whole other world? I have not. Link it to me on the Discord so I can watch it later. Yeah, I've not seen. Oh, maybe I have seen it. I don't know. Foley artists are cool, man. That's just so cool. They sit in a room, just ping, ping, ping. That was a good take. Let's get another material here. Whoa! Wowie! Hey, we ran out of celery. Someone go to the grocery store and get some fucking celery and tomatoes and shit. It's just so funny seeing like how they do stuff for movies too, like the amount of effort they put into it. It does sound like a really fun job. It does sound like one of those jobs that's like, you know, playful in some respects. They actually sliced up that video and put it in the game in an extras menu. So if you own the game, you can also access it without internet. What? That's cool. They'd be having a blast and some dinner. It's them cooking. Cooking my next meal. Tomato soup. Tomato soup. I gotta check it out. You want to see any more of that? Put video documentaries and an extras menu inside of the game. Yeah, we've lost that charm in like all of life, haven't we? Like movie DVDs having fucking mini games inside of them. I remember when we bought the Shrek movie DVD and it had a fucking game in it to play. And a documentary and everything. Like, what happened to that? Where did that all go? Where did it all go? Where did it all go? I feel like... Never mind, I'm getting... never mind, I'd be getting into an economics part of the stream. Maybe for programming, sound effects and music comes differently because with code you can build a solution inside your head, while with music and sound effects it feels like you have to tinker inside your head with hands. I'm not sure though if there's anything there. I think it's just an entirely new workflow, and I think there's a lot more frustration involved with like the new. And I bet you even experienced music artists or composers probably go through the same thing as well, like that level of frustration of coming up with a new song and whatnot. Because you go to a college and ask some students, hey, if you want to make a video documentary for our game, gives you experience, we get a video documentary to put in the game, that could be possible. I don't even know where you'd get started with that. Why don't you make a documentary about your life and put it in the game? It's because I'm too lazy. Man, listen, the game already took 5 years. You want me to put a fucking documentary in it? It's gonna take another 2 years. Indie Game the Movie. They should make a second one of those. They should make a second Indie Game the Movie. Who would be... I think the reason why Indie Game the Movie was so successful is because they had some of the most egotistical pieces of shit. It was entertaining. I think that's what made it work. I don't even remember. There was a Fez guy. There was... I don't even remember. There was 3 different developers. Eric Andre Gone Wild. Yeah, Super Meat Boy. And then there was another third game. Wasn't it Jonathan Blow? Was it Jonathan Blow? Jay Blinsky? Wasn't it his game? Or am I going crazy? Braid. Was Braid a Jay Blow game? Braid, video game. Wait. Yes. Jay Blinsky game. Interpretive dance done by Crimson in the credits of the game. It's going to cost you an extra $5. That'll be a part of the supporter edition. In fact, I'm raising the price. It'll be another additional $10. Actually, it'll actually be a subscription. The subscription is you keeping it in memory, in your brain. You can't get away with it. Yeah, I can. AAA companies are getting away with it. I will too. I think some of these AAA game companies are actually in, I don't know how the hell some of them are selling these games. They're in the drug business. Yeah, I'm making the guess right now. I'm making a guess. They're in the drug business. Cocaine and shit. Whatever other drugs there are. I don't know. cocaine and sugar and dopamine and shit. No wonder the music was so... Colgate? That's toothpaste. Colgate? Brother, that's toothpaste. You gotta use that. That's good for your teeth. Your glass right now is just damaged by actor, and then when it goes invisible, it plays a particle effect. Yes. It's just its own actor. Destructible glass. Similar to how destructible wall is its own actor. But it functions very similarly to the glass, with, you know, some additional little parts here and there. Bath salt business is booming this time of year. I don't even know what bath salts are. I'm going to be completely honest. I actually don't even know what that is. Is that something you put in your bathtub? Is it like a bath bomb, but like salt? Wait, why is this in the Payday 3 Volume 1 original sound? Wait a second. this isn't right. It's the shit that turned people into zombies in Florida? Oh. Oh, right, that one. Right. I want to do breakable glass, but want it to be lightweight, so I might try the way you have it. I don't know if my version is lightweight. A uses a render target. B uses Niagara particle effects that are fed from mesh, which I don't know if that's expensive or cheap. I know it's something that causes crashes in the game for some reason. Yeah, I don't know if it's cheap or necessarily lightweight. I don't know. It works. I don't have to create an entirely physics-based glass destruction system. I don't have to use shitty Apex destruction, which that was laggy. Apex destruction was garbage to use. A, it was horrible to use from a workflow standpoint, and B, it just did not perform well. Poopy garbage. Anyways, I guess this is turning into a just chatting stream, I guess. I do have to implement the new music tracks, but I really want to do that off stream. Gotta learn how Half-Life 2 does it. I don't know how Valve does anything. They just shit out really good stuff. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they do it. I think it's all like data-oriented stuff or something. Because can't they just apply like a tag to like any object and it turns it into glass? Like it's destructible and shatters. Like I don't know how they do that. I don't know if that's actually how it works. Maybe there is more nuance to it, similar to how I'd have to deal with it, but I think these are worth covering too. Oh, pickups. Yeah. Yeah, let me put that on the list. I'll put it on the list. I believe their system is material based. So if an object has a glass material, then it gets the behavior of it as well. Interesting. I literally don't know how they do it. Valve has a very, or like Source Engine stuff has a very feel like it has a great way of making, like, I feel like they have a good workflow down in terms of making games. But that being said, I also don't know too much about it. So it could just be grass is greener on the other side type shit. Yeah. Anyways, I put this on the screen just to fill into space. Don't really feel like working on anything. I still adore the visuals of Half-Life 2. The textures and lighting is so good, and I don't know how to match the live replicate it. I don't know. Even Half-Life Alyx is a very amazing looking game, and it's a VR game. You need to put your face, I posted in Discord yesterday, outside of a level in case someone goes out of bounds. Oh my god. Make Half-Life 3 as a test? I wouldn't be able to do that. You could look up a game called, shit. They're very, like, Valve-inspired art style. Because they do a lot of kit bashing. Or not kit bashing, sorry. Hot spotting and whatnot. What's the game called? I know someone in here. I know someone knows. It's very like half Source Engine. It's got that Source Engine look to it, but they use Unreal, I'm pretty sure. Not Prey. It's a game that's in development. It's a sequel. Shit. I think I have their stuff bookmarked. Hold on, I can find it. Give me like 5 minutes. Hold on, I'm looking. I'm looking. The game is called Not Shit. It's called, hold on, I'm almost there. I don't know why I have so many things bookmarked. Why do I have so many things bookmarked? Hold on. Wait, give me a second. I'm scrolling down. I'm scrolling down. What's the game called? Industria 2. There we go. This game. Glass fracture test. Hold on, let me show you guys this game first. Very, very inspired by Half-Life. As you can tell. Very, very, very inspired by Half-Life. But they like to use a lot of like similar workflows as like Valve does in terms of like trims and hot spotting and stuff like that. Yeah. Very, very good looking game. Like, look at that. Now, imagine what this would look like without Twitter compression. Ha damn. I could never make a game that looks that good. It looks like they just have 3 planes. Actors and UE turns, and one is set up to fracture calculations on damage. See, I think the difference is with Source is I think they can draw decals on translucency. Whereas in Unreal, I don't think we can draw decals on a translucent material, such as glass, for example. Which is really ass. I'm sure there's probably a way of doing it. Like, I wonder if they used a render target for this. Or if they straight up are, like, actually dynamically clustering this stuff. This was 2004. What? There's also, Max Payne 3 Glass Destruction. The Glass Destruction in Max Payne 3 looks pretty good too. I wonder what they did for here. Like, you can see some pieces floating. So there's definitely some trickery. Max Payne 3 just does the 3D mesh shattering logic. Okay, so similar to how the Humble Bundle guy did it. I remember watching his video and I was like, how the fuck are you doing this? How are you doing this? The receiver developer for receiver. Like, it's not perfect by any means in terms of glass destruction. Like, you can tell some of the glass pieces are like doing some weird shit. But it looks good. You could probably do this with some of the dynamic stuff in UE. I think I was trying to, and I just did not understand where to even get started. I did not know where to get started with it. And I also just didn't know what kind of like, what performance impacts it would have. But ideally, a procedural way of breaking glass would be a very cool thing to do. For like the zombie game, for example. Dude, you know what actually also has a crazy fucking Last of Us Part 2 glass destruction. Or no, I think it was part of a GDC talk. I think it was a GDC talk where they really go through like the details of this shit. Really? 720p? Is this a joke? There's got to be a better video nowadays because it's on PC now. See, the glass breaking on the car, I'd be interested to see what it looks like when you shoot it. Also, what does the windshield breaking look like? Because glass breaks in different ways. Does it act like a... And he doesn't even shoot it. You stupid video. Stupid. Dumb. We're gonna short here. That's cool, man. This is a plugin for UE5. Looks pretty good. Breakable glass. I think I've looked at this before. Yeah, very cool. Hmm. Very cool. I'm surprised though, like, how is there no ratings? Has Epic killed the marketplace so much to the point where like no one's doing ratings anymore? Like, I guess nobody really gives a fucking shit because it's like, what does it matter anymore? Unless you're like maliciously trying to negative review it. Maybe it's like at that point where it's like it's so good that nobody really cares to give it a 5-star. Because most times when there's something wrong, then they feel more inclined to actually put a review. Otherwise, Geometry Script, they're probably leveraging the fracture math in there. How does Geometry Script work in runtime? Is it performant? Is it a little rocky? Is a dynamic mesh better? Doesn't Geometry Script use a dynamic mesh technically underneath the hood? These are all like features that are in UE5 that I would love to use, but have not played around with this yet. I bet you my next game is going to take 2 years to make, dude, because I'm just going to be like, for probably a year, I'm going to be messing around with PCG, Geometry Script. So much shit. Can Epic Games just put glass breaking in as one button? Thank you. Yeah, that would solve everything, wouldn't it? See, technically, our glass destruction in our game is incorrect for vehicles. Our glass destruction for cars is actually technically incorrect. So the shatter for these glass windows is incorrect because it is a specific type of glass that upon multiple impact would just completely shatter. Windshield is also technically incorrect because the windshield is laminated. Laminated? I think it's laminate glass, where it technically has like a layer of plastic over top of it. So the way it would shatter is like very different. Like the bullet would almost like cleanly go through. I think the back window is also similar to the front ones. It would just completely shatter. It's like tempered glass. I believe Geometry Script didn't work in package runtime until 5.3 or 5.4. So you're telling me that glass destruction plugin only works in 5.4? 5.3? You said it didn't work until 5.3, 5.6, so maybe that's how they're doing it. Multiplayer replication, even for late joining players. Wow, so they're keeping track of destruction spots. This asset requires the geometry script plugin. Oh, so it is using geometry script. Very interesting. But it costs me $550. I guess it's pretty good considering the amount of hours I'd have to put in to create a proper glass destruction system anyways. My chest. That's insane for $120? Not really. Let's say you made $50 an hour. This would easily take you 10 plus hours. Hell, let's say you did $30 an hour. Let's say you did $30 an hour. This is 4 hours of work. 3, 6, 9, 12. 3, 6, 9, 12. Yeah, okay. 4 hours of work. Okay, I got it right. Oh, insanely good. Okay, okay. Just making sure, Twiggy, because other people would say $120 is insane, as in, like, that's too expensive. To which I respond, I guess maybe if you're a hobbyist, it's too expensive. But even as a hobbyist, I don't know, glass destruction's fun, man. Destruction's such a fun element in video games. You know what I mean? It goes back to that one quote that Gabe Newell says, which is like, if you shoot something or if you damage something, there should be a reaction. Or what's this quote that he says? What's the quote that's there? It's like, you need to feel like you're lived in, like you're in the world and you have an impact on the world or something. The light version? I'd probably just get the fucking actual version. Because how much is the light version? $379 for fucking professional license. Brother, just give me the full package. Just give me all the calories. Does not have a save and load system, which I don't really care for. Honestly, like, I'll just make glass break. But multiplayer replication. And a baker tool is also very nice. Now, I wonder, does this work on custom static meshes? Or does it need to use the frames that they have here? I wonder. Yeah, it might be something about diegetic. I remember there was a Gabe Newell quote about, like, how they approached Half-Life's gameplay and whatnot. Played around some wall destruction geometry script, but didn't bother to work more on that, as it didn't work at the time. The package was a 5.52. I want to say it is from a documentary. It's from, what's that really popular documentary for video games? You guys know which one I'm talking about. I'm sure you do. No Clip. Yes, that's the one. Gabe Newell, No Clip, Half-Life quote. The Half-Life 25th anniversary documentary. No, actually, I don't think it's from this video. I think it's an older video. I want to say it's an older video. Oh, right. I actually literally just found it. This quote.
interactivity, and the environment needed to let you do what you wanted and then react to it. So if you did something, if you shot your gun, there needed to be a bullet hole in the wall. If you did a thing, people needed
Yeah, narcissistic injury. I think that was the quote, actually.
Acknowledging you exist. The world is acknowledging all of your actions. And that's this huge part of reinforcement.
And you'd have these conversations where you'd be sitting in a design review and somebody'd say, that's not realistic. And you're like, okay, what does that have to, like, explain to me why that's interesting, because in the real world, I have to write up lists of stuff I have to go to the grocery store to buy. And I've never thought to myself that realism is fun. I go play games to have fun. And so we had to come up with some notion of what fun was. We knew it was an ad hoc definition, and it was the degrees to which the game recognizes and responded to the player's choices and actions, right? You know, in behavioral science, you would say we were explicitly talking about what were reinforcers and what the reinforcement schedules were, right? At that point in time, that was a useful way of making design decisions. The point I would make is, if I go up to a wall and shoot it, to me, it feels like the wall is ignoring me. I'm getting a narcissistic injury.
Narcissistic injury, dude. A narcissistic injury is such a quote.
When the world is ignoring me. So does this, like, to me, I was trying to convey to the user a sense of, yes, you were making choices, yes, you were progressing, which meant the game had to acknowledge that back to you. If you shoot at a wall, there have to be decals. If you kill a bunch of Marines,
the wall is ignoring me as a quote. Yeah.
You have to have this sense of the game acknowledging and responding to the choices and actions and progressions that you've made. Otherwise, it loses any sort of impact.
I don't know. To me, I like that. Look at it. I think that's a good way of looking at design. I don't do it 100% perfectly with everything, but I try to. Why is shooting the tires kind of inconsistent? I think it's the sphere trace that's... Oh, it's trying to hit like... Oh, it's hitting a different part of the car. What happened? If I were to guess, it's not able to hit the tire. Probably because of our sphere trace. But that uses the enemy. So I actually don't know what's going on. Is it this? I don't know. Is it the sphere trace? I don't know. What is going on? We have block all, except for camera block. Oh. Do we have the body camera blocking? Oh, we do. Oh. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. I bet you if I turn this back on, it'll work. Yep. No, it's because of the way that we changed some stuff with shooting. And so the tire wasn't reacting. I would like to make it so shooting the tire actually, like, impacts enemies around the player. I feel like that'd be a good little change. The thing is, like, in top-down, you can't really take advantage of that. That's the problem with top-down versus third-person. Like, trying to design a game around both perspectives is third-person, you have a lot more control over specific things being able to be done. Whereas with top-down, you can't really do that unless aiming was done in a very different way. Yeah. No, it's not the projectile going too fast, because they used to work before. It's just because of the way some stuff works. Yeah, like for the zombie game, I would definitely go as far as like... I know it sounds out of scope, and maybe it will be scoped out, but things like being able to break car light glass, being able to... I don't know, rip out the door or some shit, or like push doors, very Division-esque. Being able to shoot like the back glass, you know, like those are things that I wouldn't mind trying to put a little bit of effort into, and then trying to find a modular way of making that work across all vehicles, not just like one vehicle. I think that would be very important for me. A very important element is making sure that I don't have to do the same thing 50 million times. That would be ideal. I'm making a good coffee? Mmm. Oops, Scotty. I don't know. How long have I been shooting this car today? Oh, you know. Am I going to be able to update the beta branch before you leave for the 2 weeks? Would definitely like to check out. My plan is, it seems like everything is relatively stable, all things considered, for the most part. I'd like to just release it publicly. You should watch Nakey Jakey's Division 2 video before working on the zombie game. Post it up, Gerboni. I don't think it'll work in YouTube chat, though. Nakey Jakey. Why is that the name? Division 2? Is it this video? The Division could have been amazing? It's an 8-minute video. I wish newest videos were 8 minutes, not 20 to 30 minute. I really hate this new trend. I like it and I hate it. Because like there's certain times where it's like, with certain videos I wouldn't mind it being like shorter, and then it ends up being like a movie. And it's like, I don't want a movie sometimes. I just want to watch a video and it be over before I like have to go to bed. Hold on. Before I do this though. Release 1.1 leaves. Well, I'm still gonna be around to like do any like bug fixing and stuff like that. But I'm gonna need this. Like, I'm still gonna be around to do any bug fixing that's required. Sphere radius 100. And am I going to release a devlog? I just don't know what I would talk about. Like I could talk, oh, hey guys, I fully released my game and it did well. I added third person and that was great. I just don't know what I would do that would be of substance, I guess. That people would give a shit about. I would like to release videos again. I just don't really know what I would do. Damn, even if you add an actor class filter, it doesn't change the out to the actor type. That kind of sucks. Anyways, cast to base enemy character. Do a post-mortem devlog? I guess I could. I just don't know what I would do. Like, I guess, like, I don't really know what I would talk about. I think that's my problem. Is this all I have to do for this? I don't remember. Physical stagger. I think this is all I'd have to do. Let me, let's see here. So, okay. Postmortems can also be about explaining the process. Like a lot of people aren't aware of the decisions you made along the way. I guess it could be like a devlog of like the entire process. Possibly. This devlog for Severed Steel is great. Okay, we can maybe watch that next, although it's 30 minutes. I'll watch this 9 video and then we'll see where we go from there. Okay, let's see if this works. The stagger system. When you pop a tire. He's gone. Poof. Yeah, let's do a little bit more. Let's do a little more push. Let's do a little bit more push. Okay, so it would appear the radius of this is very small. 100. Let's do 200. I think that one also hit him. No! It kind of like bugged out his animation though. His like hand is all messed up. I don't know if that is a bug, being able to sprint while holding a body shield. Whatever. For science, test the bolt gun with them lined up on a tomb. I'm curious if it'll spasm out. I don't think it actually hit the tire. That being said, I do have to update the nail gun with the new code. I think. Because it's a different projectile blueprint. Don't ask me why. Can you no longer hit other parts of their body? I swear we changed that, didn't we? Maybe it's because he's hitting a car? Oh yeah. When he hits a car, he reacts a little differently. Interesting. I don't know if I'll necessarily fix that, but yeah. What was my reasoning behind projectile and not hit scan? Because of slow-mo. For the most part, because of slow-mo. And the thing is, it's technically both. It's a projectile and hit scan. It's doing a hit scan trace while moving. So, and I'm pretty sure a lot of games that say they do projectile are actually underneath the hood doing a hit scan over a period of time. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, that's how a lot of games would actually function, rather than, like, an actual physical projectile. Yeah, like a hybrid solution, yeah. Like, if I remember correctly, Battlefield 3 starts with an initial hit scan, and then it will, like, fall off. And then, like, the bullet is actually just, like, kind of fake-ish. It's following the same trajectory, but pretty sure it's, like, fake-ish. But the first beginning is, like, just an immediate hit scan. Pretty sure. How do you move a line trace in world space? I didn't know you could. You wouldn't move the line trace. You would just... You do one line trace, then the new starting point is where the line trace ended, then do another line trace, then continue and loop over and over while following an algorithm for speed and distance, you know, just like you would with math. Like simulating a projectile. At least, I'm pretty sure that's what Battlefield did from what I remember reading, but that's what I would do now. Essentially. All right, anyways, let's do some React Hour, I guess. What do we got over here? Okay. Jakey. All right. Yeah, a video game... a video game survey. Let's see it.
The Division had the potential to be the closest thing we've had to I Am Legend, the video game. With a little bit of Day After Tomorrow in there, too. A little bit of Jake Gyllenhaal. I don't think Jake Gyllenhaal's ever hurt anyone. Every hot new game that comes out starts with a large player base and then gradually goes down, but The Division dropped harder than a brick thrown by Macaulay Culkin off a New York City rooftop. It got pretty decent reviews, a lot of comparisons to Destiny and other here's some shit games, as my friend Cameron calls them. Here's some shit, basically meaning that the gameplay loop revolves around fighting enemies over and over to get better stat-based weapons and gear to fight then even harder enemies. But since you and the enemies are both getting stronger...
What about the Republic Commando video? How long is that one? 10 minutes? Okay, I'll put it in the list. Maybe. I don't know. How long are we here for? Maybe.
Anyway, and
I'll probably watch it off stream, though.
Dump a bunch of time into a grind session. Not that kind of grind session, though. It's just a shame that other than shooting guys and taking cover behind stuff, there's not a lot of ways to interact. You don't really get to interact with the amazing open world setting of NYC in a lot of meaningful ways. It's gorgeous. It's got verticality. It's got a Rockstar Games level of detail in the streets. It's got snow prettier than Claire Bear riding through the snow on a snowmobile in Nickelodeon Snow Day. But I like zebras. But here's the thing. A lot of gameplay qualities that I wanted out of The Division were realized in the game's survival mode DLC. Survival is amazing because it basically
Survival was pretty
the
cool.
entire grind session of The Division down
But
to an intense
I'd still say survival was empty in some respects as well.
1-hour permadeath experience. You start with nothing and have to make your way into the dark zone and extract with a cure for a virus that is slowly eating away at you, realized in-game as a timer. How fun. Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock clock. There's a constant snowstorm, so you have to use fire to keep warm or find warmer clothes like jackets and sweaters to keep warm, giving purpose to the game's typically cosmetic clothing. Sidebar, this is cool as fuck. There's backpacks, coolers, and other containers scattered around the map that hold valuable supplies.
Yeah, this was fun. I played it with friends when it first came out. It's almost... survival mode, if I remember correctly, was almost like a roguelite. It was all... well, not a roguelite. A roguelike. Well, yeah. Like a roguelite. Ish. Because you had like one life, you had to grab shit, and then you had to get out. Like that was kind of like the loop. So it was very interesting.
Nooks and crannies of the map, like apartment buildings, fire escapes, and subway stations, now have actual meaning and incentive to be explored. They're not just a place to fight dudes anymore. They're a place to seek refuge from the storm, possibly containing valuable supplies that can save your life. Being on the verge of freezing to death and just barely making it to a fire barrel feels cozier than watching while you were sleeping with your family by a fireplace with a cinnamon roll in your mouth. Essentially, when you have something to
Hey man, I wouldn't mind that. I could dig that.
Actually pose a very real and scary threat. The game world suddenly has a lot more weight to it. Also, the soundtrack in survival mode is better than Hilary Duff's Metamorphosis, and that is saying a thing or two. So now imagine if the entirety of The Division was designed with more of this post-apocalyptic survival gameplay in mind. You could keep a lot of the same features that are already in the base game in the survival DLC, replace the bullet sponge enemies with packs of freaky white dudes a la I Am Legend that are weak, but fast and aggressive as hell, making them actually fun to fight. Left 4 Dead, anyone? Add a little bit of S&P, a little bit of paprika, and bada boom, bada bing, Peter Pan, Stephen King. So the idea I liked for an objective in my imaginary version of The Division is this. Similar to survival mode, you have to collect something before you can extract out the map. But to make a full game out of that, maybe there's like 10 different things scattered around the map that you have to collect. Replace the permadeath style with the save
Bloated
point
enemy
style.
health. Yeah, that was the RPG element of The Division that got old pretty quickly. But, you know, different type of game.
But there's a catch. You have to use some of your valuable survival supplies to craft a save point. Yeah, you see where I'm going with this? It's fun.
No, Division's not zombie.
Whoa, it could be the interesting decision.
It was a infection that was spread, but it was like, oh, if you caught that, you just like died. You just died, basically. And they spread it on Christmas, during Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, and they spread it at a mall through dollar bills. And then it spread from there. If I remember correctly, that was kind of like the... Oh, was it Black Friday? Oh, Black Friday. There you go. I thought it was Christmas Eve. I guess, when is Black Friday? I guess that's during December. I guess there'd be all the holiday decorations and everything. I found that element to be so interesting in The Division. I loved that whole like vibe of it being during the holidays and stuff like that. I thought that was great.
Use a bunch of my valuable supplies and craft a save point now, just to play it safe, or do I just make a med pack and maybe a Molotov and keep pushing on, hoping that I'll find more supplies to make a save point so that I don't potentially bone myself by making a save point when there's a bunch of hard shit in front of me. You see where I'm going? It's called gambling, huh? Secondly, if the enemies are I Am Legend status, that means they're not the biggest fans of old vitamin D. So exploring the city during the day is a breeze. It's fine, it's whatever, who cares? But when you need to explore some buildings for some valuable supplies or travel at night, that's when things get spooky. Third, let's take that crafting system a step further. The New York setting is primed and lubed for interesting gameplay mechanics like making a temporary safe haven camp at night.
I think it'd be cool to have a safe house where if you die, you start a new character who finds your previous character's abandoned hideout after it's been ransacked, so you don't lose everything on a death, but a lot of your backup stuff. A lot of my vision for the zombie game, not the roguelite version, but like the full big kind of stalker-esque world structure, is you dying. There'd be different character types. One of them could be hardcore, and then your stuff, if you die as a hardcore, would actually stay there. But some of the things that I was thinking about is things like, if you drop shit, there's a chance that if you died from a human, some of the humans might take your shit, and you can find the shit that you lost within the world for like a period of time until like the seed resets. And like I'm thinking like every player would have a consistent seed every like 24 hours, which I think is what Peak does. And then like that could adjust things in the world, which is why I want to learn PCG and whatnot. I think that could be really cool. And I know I think Sovereign wanted to do that with his game at one point. So that was something I wanted to do, but I'd probably have different like character types, because there's certain people that really hate like when they die they lose shit. I think to me that's kind of integral to the whole point of like a hardcore mode, is that like death has a price, you know, like that makes it so death is a lot more of a like a dangerous thing, you know what I mean? Like, but I think what you could do as like a good middle ground is anything you end up extracting with or end up back at home base, kind of like what the Division does for the Dark Zone. Everything is marked. The things that are marked get dropped, and then anything you bring back, then you have that like permanently or something. Like I could see that being a nice middle ground between hardcore and also reasonable. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Right now, whenever we get to the zombie game, I'm going to start with a roguelite, which will have like elements of that, but it's mostly going to be more gameplay focused. Is Sovereign still working on stuff? I haven't seen him for a while. I don't know if he's working on any personal stuff. That I don't know. Like any personal game project stuff. He has a job.
If you're not trying to fight the Vin Diesel,
he has a job now.
For enemies using the scent of your own blood and potentially boning yourself on accident. Siphoning gas from all the abandoned cars in Times Square to make Molotov cocktails or to craft your own fires to keep warm. Imagine fighting a pack of freaky zombie fucks in the completely dark subway tunnels using only the light of a flashlight that you crafted and chose to duct tape on the end of your
He's still on his ball? Yeah, he's working out.
Yeah, gonna go ahead and need 20 pre-order copies on that game. But you want to know what I really want after playing Breath of the Wild so goddamn much? This shouldn't be any surprise to any of you. I want to craft a grappling hook so I can climb up the side of some of those goddamn skyscrapers. I mean, alright, I get that.
Alright, it's kind of coming off as gamer that just wants to do literally anything that his brain has told him in the moment of time. I want to do this, but like also let's do this, but like also while we're at it, let's do that too, you know, like, and also like this too, you know. This doesn't even make any sense with the game, but let's also do that. Yeah, it very much is like yeah, it is very much a wish list video. Let me do literally anything in the video game. Here's my idea. Video game, but you can literally do everything. Siphon gas from the car, climb the building, boost up my friend up into a window. And that's something I would like to do for the zombie game is like, your co-op friends can actually like interact with each other. I found that to be a really cool element of Peak, is like being able to literally help your friends up and stuff like that. I think things like that are cool. We don't see enough of that in a co-op space. A lot of co-op spaces, it's just, oh, hey, your friends are replicated so you can see each other's movement. You do your own things. Maybe you have collision on each other. That's fucking it. Sometimes you don't even have collision on each other. And you're killing the same enemies that are sort of replicated to each other, but in reality, it's their own. When you really start digging deep into like multiplayer and how multiplayer works, it literally just like, it breaks all the magic. Because you just have an instance of your friends, but you're in your own thing, and then the server is just replicating the information to you. But in reality, you're not actually playing multiplayer. You're actually just a player character with your own in session within a server, that's just telling you what the other characters are doing and trying to be as accurate as possible. But in reality, it's kind of just predicting it. That's multiplayer. Multiplayer is like, yeah, it's a very interesting concept once you actually start reading it. I also want a game where you can go to school, become an astronaut, and then travel to planets, all in the same details as RDR2/GTA.
This lady isn't exactly Peter Parker, but imagine climbing up the side of one of these bad boys, breaking a window, climbing into an office building, making...
All right, it's just keeps layering. Not just go to the top of the building, but go into a window, and then in that window you'll be able to go around in that specific window. But what if I want to go in the window below that window? You know what I mean? Not that floor, not the 117th floor, but actually the 116th floor. And then there's a bunch of shit on the 116th floor.
Making a fire, making a little safe haven, watching the snow-covered Big Apple from 70 floors up.
I get what he's saying, though.
GameStop, it's me again. Yeah, no, actually, I'm gonna need like 60 copies of the game. No, I still don't.
I think the thing that players of games, they say they want certain things, but then when it's actually envisioned in a technical space, they don't care for it because it is not living up to the exact dream that they want, which is literally anything and everything, being able to do anything and everything. That's the problem. Because I bet you there's tons of video games that allows you to take a grapple hook and fucking go up a building and stuff like that. But the reality of it is like, there's only so much you can do with that and whatnot. There's nothing wrong with dreaming up of these ideas. Us as developers, we dream of these ideas too, but then we're bogged down by the reality of, well, reality of trying to develop experiences like that.
No, I'm not no, I don't want to pre-order the next Madden. No, I have a fucking dog sidekick. Put down the phone. You don't need to call your eye doctor and make sure you're seeing this correctly. There are already dogs in the Division. I wonder if I'll want to kill myself when this one dies too.
So here's another thing that this also happens to game devs too. It's when a gamer plays a game or watches a movie or reads any piece of media and then wants something to reflect that, but they want it in connection with something else. And so it's like a new... Game developers also do this. They'll be working on a game, and then they play a different game, and then they start making decisions on their game based off of the game they're playing. And that happens so often, and it's so fucking dangerous. Because I'm telling you, you will never finish your fucking game because you're going to be making a lot of decisions based off of the things you're playing. This is what it sounds like here, is, yeah.
So to recap, here's my proposition for the Division 2 : I Am Legend Snow Day. Make it spookier with enemies that aren't bullet sponges but are fast and actually fun to fight, Left 4 Dead style. Dive further into the survival aspect, make that style of intense ice.
The entire thing with the world being filled with zombies in a darker world sure is viable as an overarching thematic and gameplay and all the things to work with in that. But what is the point of getting to the top of the building? And what is the point of getting into a window with that building with the grapple hook? And how do you make that enticing and interesting rather than just, oh, you push a button, grapple hook, okay, you go up? It's like, yeah, it's a cool idea, but what does it offer for the game? I think that's the thing from a design aspect. By putting shiny shit out of reach, I guess. But then it becomes a chore. Because now you got to get to every building at the top of the building, and there's shiny shit at the top. Giving them maybe a second route. My proposition instead would be provide elements in the world that are already there that maybe the player has to unlock to get to those points. Like maybe there's a construction elevator that can only be unlocked if you get to the top already. by going to the top, and then you can unlock that like checkpoint or something like that. Like I think the problem is like, where do we fit this into a gameplay loop? Okay, so we're seeing like an I Am Legend kind of game, right? I get it. Okay, I Am Legend. There's snow probably, because I'm assuming he's basing it off of the survival mode. That's the thing. When you're designing a game, it's like, where do you fit this, and does it actually matter? It really is a case study of a gamer. It really is, because you're literally just going through the emotional roller coaster through this video from in 8 minutes. It's an emotional roller coaster of a gamer that has like all these different thoughts, and we're very imaginative. Don't get me wrong. It's a very, you know, there's a lot of imagination involved. It's on a basis of, where do you fit it in? Why? Why do we fit it in? How do we fit it in? That becomes the three big questions. And then, how long will it take to fit it in? It's my issue as a dev. Every game I ever played, my instant reaction is, oh, I should totally make a game like this. It don't get me wrong. I think it's part of the reason as to why we make games to begin with, is because we had that initial reaction with a game, and then we went into it, and now we still have that reaction because that's what makes it so fun. And that's what brings the inspiration of making anything to begin with, right? It is like seeing something and then making it in your own vision that you saw it, because we fill in the gaps with our imagination. So, happened to V Rising devs. It began as a Rust game, basically, but turned into a PvE survival crafting game with boss battles and some PvP. Yeah.
Isolating gameplay.
I think it happens to all game developers. You just have to be very careful, because you don't want to like pivot too much.
Core focus.
Because if it doesn't stay in line, then you're fucked.
See, let me craft more stuff and be creative with traps. And let me climb those goddamn skyscrapers. I just want to climb stuff, alright? You may have noticed that a lot of the ideas in this video are similar to those in the If Movies Were Games 28 Days Later video I made, and that's because this is the type of game that nobody has gotten quite right. But I dream of it every night. Yes, I've played Dying Light. It still don't feel very tight.
That's what I mean. Nothing's going to fit your imaginative envisionment of how you want to climb the fucking building. Because Dying Light is that. There's a bunch of climbing building. Maybe not to the degree of climbing an entire skyscraper, but like Peak Expansion skyscraper, that could actually be sick. Peak, but urban. Urban Peak. I don't know how that would work, but Urban Peak. Go from climbing tiny areas to big skyscraper. But like, they'd have to make it really goofy.
Good night, and God bless. Uh-oh, everybody. Looks like...
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong. Me as a developer thinking about the zombie game, I am thinking about a lot of these elements. Like I said, being able to boost your friends into windows to access loot that you previously wouldn't have been able to. Maybe there's a locked door in that building, but the second floor has a window that's open, so you have to boost your friend to get into that window, and then they can unlock the front door. You know, little things like that. But then the question is like, okay, how do we put that in, and how do we implement that in? You know, little elements like that. How do we, if someone's playing single player, how do they get through the window? Okay, maybe we have to put in a mechanic where you have to like be able to drag fucking crates and little things around, so then you can boost yourself into the window. Things like those are like the challenges. And then how do we replicate that? Because obviously if you can do it in a single player, you got to be able to do it in co-op. Those are all things I think about as well. You know what I mean? Like those are all little elements. Maybe there's an alternative way of getting through the window. Maybe it's not a window. Maybe you have to go through the back, and maybe you can find an item somewhere else that's a key that actually unlocks the back door, and maybe not the front door or something like that. You know, little shit like that I think goes a long way. But you got to do a lot of that to really create replayability. Like you got to do a lot of those things all over the place within the game, not just that one little building, right? But obviously you can use those buildings as like key spots. You really want to do multiplayer? What's next? Ideally, I'd like to work towards multiplayer. I think that's what I'd like to do. I would watch this video, but it's fucking 30 minutes long, guys. Yeah, for sure, Jabroni. No, don't get me wrong. I think in any game genre, the zombie survival genre is one that people are still looking for things because they have a vision of it in their mind of how it would play out, and no game is going to ever really like 100% get everybody's vision of it. I think that's the reality of being in a space, in a genre and whatnot like that. Because for me, I want to put in zombies that are like, some are runners, some climb. Like, literally will fucking climb like walls. I would love like anomalies that start climbing the fucking ceiling like a spider. Like they've adjusted their body to be able to climb in a different way. Like treating everything as like they're hunting. Like that's it. They're all hunters, right? They're all hunting for prey. And the prey being humans. That's kind of like the pillar to work around. But I've heard some people that are like, I don't want any of this shit. I want slow walking zombies like The Walking Dead. That's it. In my mind, I'm like, I guess, but like, that's not the type of game I want to make. I want to make something that like, when it does get dark, and if the temperature starts going down and it's cold as shit outside and you got to make a light, there's like a level of fear of you in your run currently. You know, you got a bunch of gear and shit on you, some industrial stuff that you're trying to get out with, but you had to make a little hot spot because it's all cold out and shit, where the danger is other humans and some creepy fuckers who want to slurp on your spinal cord. You know what I mean? That's kind of like what I want. Ideally. Obviously, the ideal is never 100%. It's just what happens. I think one big given is I want the zombies to not be like cheesable. Like I don't want zombies where you can jump onto a car and, oh, hey, I'm safe. It's like, you know what I mean? Like that shit sucks. Oh, but it's zombies. They are stupid. No, I think zombies will do anything at any cost to fucking eat your ass. And by ass, I mean eat you entirely, not just your ass. Poor choice of words, but you know what I mean. Can I give a hot take? Metal Gear Survival isn't bad as a concept. Its only fault is not being Metal Gear. Okay, it's just using the brand name. I think I've heard good things of Metal Gear Survive. I just haven't tried it.
Star Wars Republic.
If you want a open world survival game with base building, exploration, and zombies, that's Metal Gear Survive, and people hated it. For me, I don't want in the actual exploration. So I want like 2 different phases. I want like you having your base of operations or your like hideout, and then the actual exploration mode. I don't really want base building in the traditional sense of like Rust. Oh, you build a floor foundation and walls or windows. I don't fucking care for that personally in my own game. Now I have ideas of how I want the hideout, more like Sims kind of style, where you plan out a foundation and then you build all the kind of like stuff there. But that's like its own little mode outside of the exploration mode, in a sense. And then I'd want to do like Terraria style stuff where you start like gathering survivors that have different professions that then offer you different like unlocks and stuff like that and whatever. That kind of shit would be interesting. Survival worked more like Dungeon Defenders, where you build automated defenses and fences and try to hold off hordes. Interesting. So a little bit like Fortnite, the original Fortnite. What did they call it? Fortnite Save the World? Sounds a little bit like that. The original Fortnite I paid for, me too, man. I paid for the highest tier, which literally gave you 2 free copies of the game. All they gave me was some shitty fucking umbrella in the Battle Royale mode as compensation. I want my money back. Jeez.
Commando takes players behind enemy lines as the leader of an elite squad of highly trained commando soldiers. To gain insiders' perspective on this type of combat experience, the animation team brought in special ops instructor.
No, they still had it. I just stopped playing it because it got so like UX heavy. Like the UI was, I think, fucking awful for Save the World. I don't know what happened.
Joe Bachoco, a veteran with over 30 years.
I try and very dangerous because would you
I want to see the audio section. Oh, Foley.
Foley provides a level of immersion that you don't.
The Fortnite UX team is abysmal. That's just Epic Games. Like literally, so much of all of their UX is for some reason just like down the shitter. I don't know what it is. I think they're making improvements on it. Like we saw the 5.7 roadmap, and they're making some changes, which is good. But we'll see. I don't know. Like I don't know what it is at Epic about user experience. It's like it's made by engineers. It's UX made by like programming engineers rather than UX designers. Bad UX is becoming a standard everywhere anyway. It's crazy. Like what the fuck is going on?
Get with regular hard effects.
Like listen, you'll hire a fucking doctor to figure out how to create the most dopamine optimized workflow so that people keep, but you won't hire a UX designer to make a better UX. Like, come on, man. Where's your priorities? You'll hire a therapist or whatever, to physicist, psychiatrist. What's the hiring position? But you won't hire a good UX designer to, come on, what is going on?
Detail that even if you don't register it, subconsciously it makes you feel like you're there. You don't always think about footsteps, for example. No one ever says, wow, those were great sounding footsteps in that game. Good job. You know, it's more about just sort of emotionally reinforcing what it is that you're seeing and feeling.
Foley artist Jana Vance.
I gotta say, sound designers and Foley artists need, like, nobody gives them enough respect or any attention at all to begin with. There's only attention when there's either A, missing Foley or missing sounds, or it doesn't sound good enough. But when it sounds good, nobody makes a comment on it because it just sounds natural. It sounds like it's there. It just needs to be there. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate.
Has created sound effects for feature films like Star Wars, Minority Report, Saving Private Ryan, and Pitch Black.
It's just a random pineapple and salami right there. Is that a salami or cabbage?
And say, I need something that sort of sounds like this, and I start using a lot of adjectives and sometimes we end up making sort of noises or talking in very sort of abstract terms about sound. There's an animation that's not.
As he's talking, I'm kind of thinking, well, what do I have? And we have so many different things. And then, you know, is it old? Is it new? Is it high tech? Is it going to be squeaky? And then you pretty much have to go to your boxes and pull some things out. And then what we say is, you know, what is the mic like? Sometimes when you get it in front of the microphone, it sounds a little bit different than just in the room with your ear.
The Foley process is part scavenger hunt, part trial and error, oftentimes using everyday items in unexpected ways.
For Star Wars, since it's fantasy, the range is really pretty unlimited. What creates those sounds oftentimes is completely disassociated from what it is that you're seeing.
This place gives me the creeps.
For the Trandoshan...
You know, I wanted to play this game when I was younger. My computer could not run it. My computer could not run it at all. It just did not compute. My computer was like, no!
128 gigabytes, 128 megabytes of RAM exceeded.
My computer could not fucking run this motherfucker. Let me tell you, those 256 megabytes of RAM or whatever, that was the shit back then. But like, it didn't run.
David said, you know, he wants them to be heavy and organic and kind of lizardy, but maybe monsterish. So I ended up using some pineapple. A pineapple actually split in half for that, which gave us the texture and gave us the density and gave us the weight and gave us some of the wetness. And then the little baby insect little monsters, we used some cabbage with some oyster shells actually to kind of give it this crackly, organic, kind of rubbery, insecty sound. So that was fun.
Though the sources are sometimes unusual, fully adds that last layer of reality to the Star Wars Republic Commando soundtrack.
Yeah, we have a lot of lacking sound effect and ambience in Fire, I will admit. Listen, I ain't no saint. My game has lots of gaps.
Aha moment when you plug in the Foley and all of a sudden the game comes to life.
There's something so good about like little elements having sliding sounds and little things like that. Like it adds so much. Like it makes it feel so much more like believable. Whip out the cabbage, dude. It's time to start Foleying.
This is Jonas. He's a sound recorder at Soundly, and he was dumped today on his birthday.
They use bacon frying as rain sounds.
So
I could see that.
He's out hiding his tears by...
There's so many sound effects in like movies and whatnot that like when you hear what they use to actually make it combined with other things, you're like, what the fuck?
crying in the rain.
Usually the best sound effects are sound effects that are not actually using the real thing attached to that. Sometimes it's like completely unrelated.
But the sound you're hearing isn't rain. It's bacon frying. This overly dramatic intro was made to throw you off guard and show you that you don't always need the actual sound. You can use sonically similar sounds in your sound design. Today, we're releasing a new feature in Soundly that lets you search
the demo for
similar
Wall-E
sounds.
trailer in college is awesome.
Jonas
I love that.
has a favorite whoosh he uses all the time. And Jonas's ex called him
Nord?
boring because he used the same whoosh and band t-shirts every day. So now he can spice things up by searching for similar whooshes in both our cloud library and his local files. And even rediscover all the files he forgot to name properly. Or, if Jonas is working on a game, he can easily find variations of the gunshot he likes. So, if you've recently been dumped,
Are we watching an ad?
right amount of
Yeah, I think we were just looking for the bacon, but yeah, this is an ad, isn't it? Yep, it is an ad. Someone check if that guy works for Soundly. Or Julian? All right, on that note, good stream. I'm gonna keep this Severed Steel video open to watch later. I'll be back on October 6th. Yep, I'm gonna be gone for like 2 weeks. I got family visiting, and I just kind of like I think need a break or whatever. Well, not break. I'm still gonna be working on stuff, but just here and there. Yeah, taking like a 2-week break. I got a bunch of stuff going on. I will be back on October 6th, and when I am back, we will be starting the next game. So it's a nice little break to freshen my brain, figure out what I actually want to work on when we get back. We'll be working on the next game, and we'll also work on Suits. So it'll be like 50-50. So what I'm thinking is we'll do like 2 to 3 hours of new game, and then we'll do like, I don't know, I guess 1 to 2 hours of like working on Suit for Hire 1.2 or whatever. Adding, I verbatim quote someone on Steam, useless garbage will be some of the stuff we'll add in for 1.2. Bug fixes and useless garbage. Yeah, that was the quote. Anyways, yeah. Hope you guys have a great September. What season are we going into? Fall? Spring? Summer? Winter? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Added some garbage models to the levels for that guy. Added some useless garbage. That would be the patch note. Added some useless garbage. Yeah. Hope you guys have a great next few weeks. Stay safe. Get some shit going. Be productive. when you can, when you have the energy to do so. And I'll see you on October of the 6th, which is going to be a Monday. Yeah. If I can't scale skyscrapers, I'm review bombing. Well, shit. Well, shit. There's not going to be a dog? No skyscrapers? A fitness ball that I can run on? What the hell? Anyways, goodbye. See you guys in 2 to 3 weeks, whenever October 6th is. I don't know. Was that 2 weeks? 3 weeks? I don't know, something like that. Anyways, yes, stay safe. Have a good one. Take it easy. Goodbye.